Hello everyone, my name's Rachel Cheung. I'm a PhD student working with LuCiD, the International Centre for Language and Communicative Development. We've been asked by the Communication Trust to deliver support regarding using evidence in the early years, following a workshop about this. The aim of this presentation is to highlight why the early years, and particularly you as early years staff, are so important to children's development and their later outcomes. Firstly, I'm going to explain who LuCiD are and what we do, and then I'm going to talk about the impact early years have throughout life, about the role of speech, language and communication, and how research can help. Finally, I'll give you a bit more information on how you can access this research. This presentation will not take very long, as I'm aware that you may be watching this after a full day's work. LuCiD is a research collaboration working to transform our understanding of how children learn to communicate with language. Formed between 3 universities, Lancaster, Liverpool and Manchester, we deliver research to parents, early years practitioners and policy makers. One of our main areas of research is the early years, so children between the ages of 0 to 5. This is because a child's life outcomes have strong ties to their development in the first 5 years of life. Between the ages of 0 to 5, children undergo amazing changes in motor control, social behaviour, cognitive and brain development, and language. These areas of development are wide-ranging, and children's early development scores at age 5 show links with educational and economic outcomes as adults. This graph, taken from a government report in 2010, was from a cohort of children followed from birth to adulthood. It shows the relationship between early development scores and later qualifications at age 26. The percentage of 26-year-olds attaining certain qualifications is shown on the vertical axis, and the type of qualifications that they were obtained is shown on the horizontal axis. The groups are split by whether they were in the bottom 25% of early development scores at age 5 or in the top 25%. You can see a significant difference between these groups by the height of the bars. Those who have higher early development scores by the age of 5 appear to attain more qualifications by the age of 26, compared to those with lower scores at age 5. In particular, early communication skills really impact on later educational development. Poor skills have shown links with behavioural problems, mental health, employability, criminality, and economic outcome. Research shows that even after taking socioeconomic status into account, language scores at the age of 5 can independently predict life outcomes. Children who enter school with better language skills have better chances, and those from disadvantaged areas in the UK can be as much as 19 months behind their peers in vocabulary development. Because of this, working with early years practitioners to target and boost language skills at an early age is pivotal to trying to close this gap. Research and early years programs have shown that high-quality childcare early on can improve economic outcomes and educational skills. This makes the role that you play as early years teachers extremely important. So how can research help you in your vital role? You will be aware that children in the early years are learning language in a very rich environment. These environments have lots of different sources of information that children learn from. Research aims to identify what these sources are and investigate on how to use them to bolster learning. For example, quantity and quality of speech is really important. Things like giving a running commentary, asking WH questions, talking about events in the past and the future, and reading together can all bolster learning skills. You can access useful resources surrounding how to boost language skills online. There are a number of databases that contain further information about accessing and using evidence, including LuCiD's website, the Communication Trust's What Works website, the Early Intervention Foundation, and ICANN. For example, the Early Intervention website has something called the Guidebook. Using this, you can filter out programs to look for one specific to your needs. For example, you can search for different levels of evidence ranging from 2 to 4, with 4 representing programs with positive long-term impacts that have been assessed by multiple research studies. You can also search for estimated relative cost, which is based on how much time and resources an intervention takes with a rating from 1 to 5, 1 being the least resource intensive and 5 being the most. You can also search for age range and specific outcomes that you might want to assess. So if we select evidence rating 3, cost rating 3, educational and school achievement as our outcomes, and infants, toddlers and preschool as our age group, and then we click search, we end up with 2 programs that we might find useful. Please note that you can also select multiple options if you wish, such as a cost rating of 2 to 5. One of the results that comes up from our search is raising early achievement in literacy. Using this as an example, this intervention aims to teach parents ways to help their child improve their literary skills by helping them identify certain learning needs, and using strategies like regular encouragement for early writing and reading, and also storytelling. The What Works database has a similar search function that tells you how evidence-based an intervention or program is. Alternatively, if you just want a quick way of including a little bit more research in your day-to-day work, here are some blogs that deliver short pieces about current research and how to evaluate interventions. This blog is about using evidence and is from the Communication Trust. This blog is from the National Literacy Trust and it focuses on literacy in schools. There are more and more short, accessible results and reports about research that can help you further realize how what you're doing is valuable for children's futures. If you are able to make some time to read a quick blog post on the train home, or look up some of the interventions you are using to see if they work, and how they work, this can benefit your day-to-day work as an early years teacher. I've sent a list of databases and blogs mentioned in this talk to your lead teacher who can then pass them on to you all. Thank you for listening and thank you for your work with the early years.